Welcome, the Jefferson nickel is one of the most overlooked coins in America, yet a few carefully preserved examples have captured the attention of serious collectors for reasons most people never notice. Let's take a closer look and uncover the tiny details that can make this familiar coin far more fascinating than it first appears. First coin. Few American coins seem more ordinary at first glance than the 1946 Jefferson nickel. Yet hidden within this modest 5-cent piece is a fascinating story that continues to surprise collectors decades after it left the presses. Millions of these nickels quietly passed through cash registers, lunch counters, and family piggy banks, blending into everyday commerce so completely that few people stopped to examine them. Today, however, careful collectors know that certain authenticated examples stand apart because of their remarkable preservation, exceptional strikes, or unusual mint characteristics. Before this story reaches its conclusion, you'll discover what some verified examples have brought at auction, why only a small percentage command significant premiums, and which specific details experts examine before assigning collector value. The journey begins not with a price tag, but with understanding why this seemingly common coin has earned lasting respect among serious numismatists. The timing of the 1946 Jefferson nickel gives it an importance that extends far beyond its denomination. America had just emerged from the Second World War, and industries that had been focused on wartime production were shifting back to serving everyday civilian life. During the war, the United States Mint had temporarily changed the composition of the nickel to conserve strategic metals, creating the famous silver alloy war nickels dated from late 1942 through 1945. By 1946, the mint returned to the traditional alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, marking the beginning of a new post-war chapter for the series. The coin represents a nation moving away from rationing, military production, and global conflict toward economic expansion and renewed confidence. That historical transition gives the 1946 issue a unique place within the Jefferson nickel collection because it symbolizes the restoration of normal coinage after years of extraordinary circumstances. Collectors quickly notice that the 1946 Jefferson nickel was produced at more than one United States Mint facility, and each location plays a role in the coin's collecting landscape. Philadelphia struck coins without a mint mark, while Denver placed a small D on the reverse beside Monticello, and San Francisco added an S in the same position. Although all three issues are historically important, their mintages, striking quality, and surviving populations differ enough to create meaningful distinctions for specialists. The Philadelphia Mint produced the largest number, making circulated examples relatively easy to locate, while Denver and San Francisco issues present their own collecting challenges depending on condition. Even though millions were struck across all facilities, survival in pristine condition tells a completely different story because coins intended for circulation rarely escaped the wear of decades spent changing hands. That gap between original production and modern preservation is one reason advanced collectors carefully study each surviving specimen. Every detail of the coin's physical construction reflects the precision expected from the United States Mint during the mid-20th century. The 1946 Jefferson nickel weighs approximately 5 grams, measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter, and features a plain edge rather than a reeded one. Sculptor Felix Schlag designed both sides of the coin after winning a national competition, creating a portrait of Thomas Jefferson for the obverse and a view of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, for the reverse. The obverse includes the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, while the reverse displays "EPLUBUSUNUM," United States of America, 5 cents, and the architectural image of Monticello. These design elements remained familiar to generations of Americans, yet specialists know that even subtle differences in strike sharpness, lettering, and architectural detail can dramatically affect desirability among collectors. As collectors move beyond basic identification, they begin searching for characteristics that separate ordinary examples from exceptional ones, One of the most discussed features is the quality of the strike, particularly on the steps leading to Monticello's entrance. Strongly struck nickels reveal sharply defined horizontal steps with minimal interruptions, while weaker strikes often leave these lines blended together. Certified examples receiving the coveted full steps designation are significantly scarcer because achieving complete step definition required ideal die condition, proper striking pressure, and minimal post-strike disturbance. A coin may possess brilliant luster and almost no wear yet still fail to earn this distinction if the steps are incomplete. This single characteristic demonstrates how grading extends far beyond simple preservation, rewarding precision in the original minting process as much as decades of careful storage. Once condition enters the equation, the value differences become surprisingly dramatic. A well-worn 1946 Jefferson nickel that spent decades in circulation generally carries only modest collector interest, but authenticated mint state examples begin attracting noticeably stronger demand. Depending on certification, eye appeal, and market conditions, especially attractive uncirculated pieces may sell in the neighborhood of $1,150 to $1,850, while superior examples with outstanding surfaces and stronger strikes can reach roughly $2,300 to $3,400 in competitive collector markets. These figures are never guaranteed because prices fluctuate with demand, grading standards, and the availability of comparable coins. The lesson experienced collectors emphasize is simple: the date alone does not determine value. Professional authentication, originality, and preservation remain the deciding factors whenever significant money changes hands. Beyond condition, specialists devote considerable attention to mint errors and die varieties that occasionally escaped quality control. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and dramatic die cracks all have dedicated followings, particularly when certified by respected grading services. Repunched mint marks are also studied on certain mint issues from this era, although every suspected variety must be verified carefully because damage after circulation can imitate genuine mint-made characteristics. Collectors should also inspect for double design elements created during die production rather than by ordinary wear or machine doubling. Authentic mint errors are uncommon by nature, which explains why documented examples often command premiums far exceeding those of ordinary coins in similar grades. Nevertheless, confirmation by knowledgeable experts is essential before assigning substantial value to any unusual-looking specimen. Because valuable coins naturally attract counterfeiters and altered pieces, authentication has become one of the most important steps in modern numismatics. Unscrupulous individuals sometimes modify dates, add counterfeit mint marks, artificially brighten surfaces, or attempt to disguise cleaning and repairs. Under magnification, experienced graders examine the texture of the metal, the shape of lettering, the integrity of the mint mark, and countless microscopic details that reveal whether a coin remains original. Cleaning is particularly damaging because abrasive polishing can permanently remove the natural mint luster collectors prize, reducing desirability even if the coin appears visually attractive to an inexperienced observer. Proper preservation involves holding coins only by their edges, storing them in inert archival holders, maintaining stable humidity, and avoiding harsh chemical treatments. Preventive care often preserves value far more effectively than any attempt to improve appearance after decades of storage. The highest-profile auction appearances illustrate just how selective the marketplace can be. While many attractive mint state coins trade within the moderate collector ranges already discussed, extraordinary certified examples possessing exceptional preservation, remarkable strike quality, and elite grading have realized prices well beyond ordinary expectations. Some top population pieces have crossed the auction block for amounts exceeding $10,000 after spirited bidding among advanced registry set competitors seeking the finest known examples. Those remarkable results should always be understood in context, however. Such coins represent the absolute upper end of the surviving population, often combining nearly flawless surfaces with the elusive full steps designation and impeccable certification from leading grading organizations. They are historical exceptions rather than benchmarks for every 1946 Jefferson nickel discovered in circulation or inherited from a family collection. The enduring appeal of the 1946 Jefferson nickel lies not in the promise of instant wealth, but in the remarkable intersection of history, craftsmanship, and careful preservation. It serves as a tangible reminder of America's transition from wartime sacrifice to peacetime rebuilding, while offering collectors countless opportunities to study minting techniques, strike quality, grading standards, and the subtle characteristics that distinguish an ordinary coin from an extraordinary survivor. Each authenticated example tells a slightly different story shaped by its journey through commerce or its fortunate escape from circulation. Whether preserved in a certified holder after decades of expert care or rediscovered in an old collection awaiting professional evaluation, the coin continues to reward patience, knowledge, and close observation. For collectors willing to study every detail rather than every rumor, the 1946 Jefferson nickel remains one of the most educational and satisfying issues in the entire Jefferson nickel series, proving that genuine rarity is revealed through careful examination, documented authenticity, and an appreciation for the remarkable history carried within a single 5-cent coin. Next coin. At first glance, the 1974 Jefferson nickel appears to be nothing more than another common 5-cent coin that passed through millions of American hands during the 1970s. It was spent on everyday purchases, dropped into vending machines, and forgotten in countless dresser drawers and coin jars. Yet decades later, collectors have learned that not every surviving example deserves to be treated the same. Some have become surprisingly desirable because of exceptional preservation, remarkable strike quality, or unusual mint-made characteristics that escaped into circulation. The difference between an ordinary piece and a truly collectible example is often invisible to the casual observer, making this one of the most misunderstood modern United States coins. As this story unfolds, you'll discover why specialists examine the 1974 Jefferson nickel so carefully, which characteristics separate exceptional examples from ordinary ones, and what authenticated specimens have achieved in the collector market. The coin emerged during a fascinating period in American history. The United States was dealing with rising inflation, the lingering effects of the 1973 oil crisis, and economic uncertainty that affected nearly every household. Fuel shortages, increasing consumer prices, and changing financial conditions made even small denominations an important part of everyday commerce. Unlike commemorative issues or special anniversary coins, the 1974 Jefferson nickel was produced simply because the nation required enormous numbers of circulating 5-cent pieces to support a growing economy. Although it never received the attention of silver coinage or the bicentennial designs that would soon follow, the 1974 issue quietly became part of one of the busiest periods of circulation in modern American numismatic history, making high-quality survivors far scarcer than the original production figures might suggest. Production took place at 3 United States mint facilities. Philadelphia struck coins without a mint mark, Denver added a small D, and San Francisco produced proof coins carrying the S mint mark for collector proof sets rather than circulation. Philadelphia and Denver together struck well over 1 billion business strike nickels, making circulated examples readily available today. Those enormous mintages sometimes lead people to assume that every 1974 Jefferson nickel is common, but experienced collectors know that mintage alone never determines rarity. The true challenge begins when searching for coins with nearly flawless surfaces, full original luster, minimal contact marks, and exceptionally sharp strikes. While millions entered circulation, comparatively few escaped heavy use, and an even smaller number survived in the elite condition demanded by advanced collectors and competitive registry participants. Physically, the coin continued the long-established specifications of the Jefferson Nickel series. It was struck from an alloy containing 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighed 5 grams, measured 21.2 millimeters in diameter, and featured a plain edge. Felix Schlag's celebrated portrait of Thomas Jefferson remained on the obverse, displaying the familiar inscriptions, Liberty, the date, and In God We Trust. The reverse continued to feature Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, surrounded by United States of America, EPLUBUSUNUM, and 5 cents. Although the design had become familiar after decades of production, striking quality varied from die to die and from one mint facility to another. Collectors often notice that even coins from the same mint can display significant differences in sharpness, especially in the architectural details of Monticello and the fine hair detail on Jefferson's portrait. That observation naturally leads to one of the most important characteristics in the modern Jefferson Nickel series, strike quality. The famous steps leading to Monticello's entrance have become one of the defining features evaluated by professional grading services. Coins displaying uninterrupted, sharply defined steps may qualify for the coveted full steps designation, a recognition that dramatically increases collector interest when combined with high mint state grades. Achieving full steps required fresh dies, proper striking pressure, and excellent production conditions, making these examples considerably less common than ordinary business strikes. A coin may appear nearly perfect at first glance, yet still fail to receive the designation because of tiny weaknesses or contact marks interrupting those delicate lines. For specialists assembling the finest certified collections, these subtle distinctions often become more important than the date itself. Once collectors begin examining certified examples, the market reveals just how dramatically condition influences value. A circulated 1974 Jefferson Nickel usually remains an inexpensive historical keepsake, but certified mint state examples with exceptional eye appeal become a different story altogether. Depending on certification, originality, strike quality, and current market demand, attractive high-grade business strikes have sold in approximately the $1,280 to $1,920 range, while superior examples with stronger preservation and outstanding surfaces have realized around $2,450 to $3,650. These values should never be interpreted as guarantees for every coin carrying the same date. Authentication, professional grading, originality, and buyer demand remain essential factors, and the market changes continually as new examples are certified and collector preferences evolve. Beyond ordinary grading, specialists also search carefully for legitimate mint errors and recognize die varieties associated with the 1974 issue. While no universally famous major variety defines the entire date the way certain other United States coins are known, authenticated off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and selected double die or die break examples occasionally appear in the marketplace. Every unusual feature must be evaluated carefully because post-mint damage can easily imitate genuine production errors. Experienced numismatists rely on microscopic examination, comparison with documented references, and certification from respected grading organizations before attributing any premium to an unusual coin. Authentic mint-made errors remain desirable precisely because they are uncommon, while altered or damaged pieces generally hold little additional value despite appearances. Professional authentication has become increasingly important as technology has made counterfeit production more sophisticated. Although counterfeit 1974 Jefferson nickels are not encountered nearly as frequently as fake key-date silver coins or gold pieces, altered mint marks, artificially enhanced surfaces, and deceptive cleaning still present real concerns. Grading experts evaluate the texture of the metal, die characteristics, luster flow, edge integrity, and countless microscopic details that are difficult to reproduce convincingly. Harsh cleaning remains one of the most common problems because it permanently changes the original surface, often leaving fine hairlines that become obvious under proper lighting. Collectors hoping to preserve value are encouraged to store coins in archival quality holders, avoid excessive handling, maintain stable environmental conditions, and resist the temptation to polish or improve appearance, since originality consistently commands stronger market confidence. Auction history further illustrates the enormous gap separating ordinary examples from elite survivors. While most certified high-grade coins trade within the moderate collector ranges already discussed, the finest known examples have attracted far stronger competition when offered through major auction firms. Registry collectors pursuing top-ranked certified sets often compete intensely for coins representing the highest graded populations, especially those combining exceptional luster with a desirable full steps designation. Some authenticated examples meeting those extraordinary standards have realized auction prices exceeding $8,000. Those remarkable results should never be viewed as typical outcomes for every 1974 Jefferson nickel. They represent exceptionally rare combinations of preservation, strike quality, certification, and collector demand that exist within only a tiny fraction of the surviving population. The enduring appeal of the 1974 Jefferson nickel comes from the way it rewards careful observation instead of assumptions. What appears to be an ordinary pocket change coin can become an engaging study of American economic history, minting technology, grading science, and collector psychology. Every surviving example carries the story of an era shaped by inflation, changing consumer habits, and the constant movement of everyday commerce, while the finest preserved pieces offer a remarkably clear window into the craftsmanship of the United States Mint during the mid-1970s. For collectors, the greatest satisfaction lies not in expecting every coin to be valuable, but in learning how authenticity, originality, condition, rarity, and documented market demand combine to determine lasting desirability. That balance between history and careful evaluation is precisely why the 1974 Jefferson nickel continues to earn respect among serious numismatists and remains a rewarding coin to study, preserve, and collect. Next coin. At first glance, the 1988 D. Jefferson nickel gives almost nothing away. It looks like the kind of coin that might still be hiding in a pocket, resting at the bottom of a change jar, or mixed into a roll from the bank. Yet experienced collectors pause the moment they see that small d beneath the date because they know this seemingly ordinary coin deserves a closer inspection. Most people never notice the tiny details that separate an everyday nickel from a truly desirable collectible, but those details are exactly where the investigation begins. As we examine this coin together, you'll discover why specialists study it so carefully, what characteristics authenticated examples must possess to attract serious attention, and why only a select group of survivors has earned remarkable respect in the numismatic marketplace. The story begins in 1988, a year when the United States economy was experiencing steady expansion after the inflationary challenges of the previous decade. Cash transactions remained central to daily life, and billions of coins were needed to keep commerce moving efficiently across the country. The Denver Mint was one of the facilities responsible for supplying those circulating nickels, striking an enormous quantity that would travel through grocery stores, restaurants, gas stations, and vending machines for years to come. No one at the Mint expected these coins to become objects of careful investigation decades later. They were manufactured to withstand constant circulation, not to be admired in display cases. Ironically, that ordinary purpose is one reason exceptional survivors have become so fascinating, because very few escaped decades of heavy use with their original appearance intact. Turning the coin under good lighting immediately reveals the familiar artistry of the Jefferson nickel series. The obverse features Felix Schlag's portrait of Thomas Jefferson, accompanied by the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," the date, and the Denver Mint mark. The reverse displays Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia estate, surrounded by United States of America, EPLUBUSUNUM, $1.05. Although the design had already been in circulation for many years, by 1988, every fresh strike still depended on properly prepared dies, accurate striking pressure, and careful handling before entering circulation. The coin retained its traditional composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighed 5 grams, measured 21.2 millimeters in diameter, and featured a smooth, plain edge. Those specifications seem routine, yet they provide the foundation for authentication because genuine examples should match them closely. Now the investigation becomes more interesting. Experienced collectors rarely begin by asking what the coin might be worth. Instead, they first examine the strike itself. Is Jefferson's hair sharply defined, or has it softened because of weak striking? Are the letters crisp and complete? Does Monticello display clear architectural detail, or do the finest elements appear flat? The famous steps leading to the entrance receive especially close attention because they reveal how completely the dies transferred their design to the planchet. Tiny interruptions, contact marks, or incomplete striking can prevent an otherwise beautiful coin from receiving the coveted full steps designation awarded by professional grading services. That single detail often becomes one of the most influential factors separating ordinary mint state examples from truly elite survivors. Surface preservation tells another important chapter in the coin's story. Original mint luster flows across an uncirculated nickel in a way that experienced graders recognize almost instantly, creating a rotating cartwheel effect under proper lighting. Every trip through circulation gradually interrupts that delicate surface, replacing brilliance with countless tiny abrasions accumulated during years of everyday use. Collectors also evaluate the overall eye appeal, looking for attractive color, minimal spotting, and the absence of distracting marks on Jefferson's portrait and the broad open fields surrounding the design. Unlike copper coins, Jefferson nickels are not classified into color categories such as red or brown, but originality remains extremely important. Artificially cleaned or polished examples may appear bright at first glance, yet they almost always lose favor because the original surface has been permanently altered. Only after examining those physical characteristics does the discussion naturally turn toward collector value. Circulated 1988 D. Jefferson nickels generally remain common and inexpensive because of their large original production. Certified mint state examples, however, tell a different story. Depending on professional grading, strike quality, originality, eye appeal, and market demand, especially attractive certified coins have sold in approximately the $1,320 to $2,080 range, while superior examples displaying stronger preservation and more desirable characteristics have realized around $2,650 to $3,880. These values are not fixed and should never be interpreted as guarantees. Every transaction reflects the interaction of certification, rarity within a specific grade, collector competition, and the current market at the time of sale. As the investigation continues, attention shifts toward mint-made varieties and genuine production errors. Unlike certain famous United States coins that are known primarily for dramatic varieties, the 1988 D. Jefferson nickel does not have a widely recognized major variety that defines the entire issue. Nevertheless, authenticated off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and other legitimate mint errors occasionally appear and attract specialized collectors. Care is essential because post-mint damage often imitates genuine production anomalies. Bent coins, damaged rims, and machine-related wear acquired after leaving the mint should never be confused with authentic mint errors. Specialists compare unusual pieces with documented references and frequently rely on third-party certification before assigning additional value to any suspected error. Authentication has become increasingly important as counterfeit techniques continue to improve, even though counterfeit 1988 D. Jefferson nickels are far less common than counterfeit K-date silver or gold coins. Professional graders evaluate microscopic details including lettering shape, surface texture, luster flow, edge characteristics, and the precise appearance of the mint mark. Weight and dimensions also provide valuable confirmation because significant deviations may indicate alteration or counterfeit manufacture. Cleaning remains one of the most common reasons desirable coins lose value. Fine hairlines, unnatural brightness, or chemical residue often reveal attempts to improve appearance, but these treatments permanently reduce originality. For that reason, experienced collectors recommend storing coins in inert archival holders, minimizing direct handling, and maintaining a stable environment free from excessive humidity and contaminants. Auction history demonstrates how dramatically the marketplace rewards extraordinary quality. While most certified examples trade within moderate collector ranges, registry set competition has occasionally pushed the finest known specimens far beyond ordinary expectations. Coins certified at the highest mint state levels and carrying the coveted Full Steps designation have realized substantially stronger prices than average examples because so few combine exceptional preservation with complete strike detail. Verified auction records show that elite certified examples have sold for amounts well above $10,000. Those remarkable prices belong only to authenticated top population coins with extraordinary characteristics and should never be interpreted as the value of every 1988 Jefferson nickel. The overwhelming majority remain far more modest in value, reinforcing the importance of careful evaluation rather than assumptions based solely on the date. Looking back over the entire investigation, the 1988 Jefferson nickel proves that true collectability is rarely obvious at first glance. Its significance comes not from precious metal content or an unusually low mintage, but from the remarkable challenge of locating examples that survived with exceptional strike quality, original surfaces, outstanding eye appeal, and certified authenticity. Every careful examination teaches another lesson about how experienced numismatists evaluate a coin, beginning with the date and mint mark before moving through luster, preservation, lettering, design detail, and possible mint-made anomalies. That methodical process transforms an ordinary-looking 5-cent piece into an engaging historical artifact representing late 20th century American coinage. The greatest reward lies not in expecting every nickel to be valuable, but in understanding why a small number of authenticated examples have earned lasting respect among advanced collectors and continue to strengthen the long-term appeal of the Jefferson Nickel series. Next coin. The 1996 Jefferson Nickel, without giving it a second thought, yet hidden behind its familiar appearance, is a story that only careful collectors truly appreciate. At first glance, it seems impossible that such an ordinary-looking 5-cent piece could inspire intense examination by grading experts, registry set competitors, and seasoned numismatists. The secret is not the date alone, nor the mint mark, but the combination of preservation, striking quality, originality, and rarity within the highest certified grades. Those subtle differences often escape casual observation, which is exactly why this coin continues to intrigue specialists decades after it entered circulation. As this investigation unfolds, you'll discover why certain authenticated examples have earned exceptional collector attention, how professionals determine their desirability, and what verified market results reveal about the finest surviving pieces. The Denver Mint produced the 1996 Jefferson Nickel during a period when the United States economy was enjoying sustained growth, expanding consumer confidence, and an increasing demand for circulating coinage. Electronic payments were becoming more common, yet cash remained an essential part of daily commerce, requiring the mint to manufacture enormous quantities of nickels capable of surviving years of heavy circulation. The Denver facility, identified by the small d mint mark, had long established a reputation for efficient large-scale production, and the 1996 issue reflected that mission. Hundreds of millions of examples left the presses destined for banks, retailers, restaurants, vending machines, and pocket change across the country. Although the coin entered circulation as an everyday necessity rather than a collectible, history has shown that mass production does not guarantee an abundant supply of exceptional survivors. Understanding the coin itself begins with its physical specifications, which remained consistent with the long-running Jefferson Nickel series. Each business strike was produced from an alloy containing 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighed 5 grams, measured 21.2 millimeters in diameter, and featured a smooth, plain edge. The obverse carried Felix Schlag's enduring portrait of Thomas Jefferson, accompanied by the inscriptions "In God We Trust," Liberty, the date, and the Denver Mint mark. On the reverse appeared Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, framed by United States of America, EPLURBUSUNUM, and 5 cents. While these familiar design elements changed little from previous decades, every freshly struck coin represented a precise interaction between carefully prepared dies, polished planchets, and immense striking pressure. Tiny variations during that manufacturing process would later become surprisingly important to collectors searching for the very finest examples. When experienced numismatists examine a 1996 D. Jefferson nickel, they rarely begin by thinking about value. Instead, they immediately evaluate the strike. Jefferson's hair should display crisp detail, the lettering should appear sharp and complete, and Monticello should retain strong architectural definition. Particular attention is given to the steps leading to the building's entrance because they provide one of the clearest indicators of strike quality. Coins certified with the coveted Full Steps designation occupy a special place within the Jefferson Nickel series because uninterrupted step detail is considerably less common than many people expect. Even a nearly flawless coin can miss this designation if the original strike was slightly weak, or if later contact marks interrupted the delicate lines. This emphasis on microscopic detail explains why two coins sharing the same date and mint mark may receive dramatically different evaluations. Surface preservation adds another layer to the investigation. Fresh mint luster creates a distinctive cartwheel effect when light moves across an untouched nickel, revealing the original flow lines created during striking. Every encounter with circulation gradually diminishes that brilliance, replacing it with friction, contact marks, and surface abrasions accumulated over years of everyday use. Collectors study eye appeal just as carefully as technical preservation, looking for attractive surfaces, minimal spotting, and the absence of distracting marks in prominent areas of the design. Unlike copper cents, Jefferson nickels are not categorized by color designations such as red or brown, but originality remains equally important. A coin that has been harshly cleaned or polished almost always loses collector appeal because those treatments permanently alter the natural surface. Depending on certification, eye appeal, originality, and current demand, especially attractive mint state examples have sold within approximately the $1,410 to $2,160 range, while stronger certified pieces possessing superior quality have realized around $2,780 to $3,940 in competitive collector markets. Beyond condition, specialists carefully investigate the possibility of legitimate mint-made varieties and production errors. The 1996 D. Jefferson nickel is not associated with a single famous major variety that defines the entire issue, and reliable references do not identify a widely recognized dramatic die variety unique to this date. Nevertheless, authenticated mint errors such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, or other documented production anomalies occasionally appear and receive considerable attention from collectors who specialize in error coinage. Each unusual feature requires careful verification because post-mint damage frequently imitates genuine manufacturing mistakes. Experienced experts compare suspect pieces with established references and often rely on third-party certification before recognizing any premium. That careful approach protects collectors from confusing ordinary damage with true mint-produced rarity. Authentication has become increasingly significant as collecting has grown more sophisticated. Although counterfeit examples of the 1996 D. Jefferson nickel remain relatively uncommon compared with classic silver or gold issues. Altered coins and artificially improved surfaces still appear in the marketplace. Professional grading services examine countless microscopic characteristics, including dye markers, luster flow, metal texture, edge integrity, lettering style, and the precise appearance of the mint mark. Accurate weight and diameter measurements also help confirm authenticity because significant deviations can indicate alteration or counterfeit manufacture. Preservation plays an equally important role after authentication. Storing coins in archival quality holders, avoiding excessive handling, protecting them from humidity, and never attempting abrasive cleaning all contribute to maintaining originality, which remains one of the strongest indicators of long-term collector confidence. Auction history demonstrates just how selective the marketplace has become. Most certified examples trade within moderate collector ranges, yet the finest known pieces occupy an entirely different category because they combine elite preservation with exceptional strike quality and, in many cases, the desirable full steps designation. Registry collectors assembling the highest-ranked certified Jefferson nickel sets compete intensely whenever these rare top population examples become available through major auction firms. Verified auction records show that extraordinary certified examples have realized prices well beyond ordinary collector expectations, but those remarkable results belong only to authenticated coins representing the absolute highest levels of quality rather than typical circulation pieces. Every outstanding sale reinforces the same lesson. Rarity within condition often matters more than rarity by mintage. The next remarkable discovery begins with knowing exactly what to look for. The lasting significance of the 1996 D. Jefferson nickel extends far beyond the possibility of finding an exceptional specimen. It represents an era when American coinage continued serving billions of everyday transactions while quietly creating future opportunities for dedicated collectors willing to study details invisible to most people. Every surviving coin carries evidence of its individual journey, whether preserved untouched in an original mint roll or worn smooth through years of circulation. For modern numismatists, the greatest satisfaction comes from understanding how history, craftsmanship, preservation, certification, and collector psychology intersect within a single 5-cent coin. That knowledge transforms an overlooked piece of pocket change into an educational artifact that rewards patience, careful observation, and disciplined research. What ultimately makes the 1996 D. Jefferson nickel so compelling is not the promise of extraordinary value, but the challenge it presents to anyone willing to examine it with an expert's eye. Date and mint mark provide only the starting point. From there, the investigation moves through strike sharpness, original luster, surface preservation, eye appeal, potential mint-made anomalies, certification standards, and documented market demand before any meaningful conclusion can be reached. The finest examples continue attracting attention because they survive decades with characteristics few others retained, reminding collectors that genuine rarity often develops long after a coin leaves the mint. In that sense, the 1996 D. Jefferson nickel stands as an enduring lesson in modern American numismatics, proving that the most familiar coins can still reveal remarkable stories when examined with patience, knowledge, and respect for the evidence preserved on their surfaces.